I never imagined being called Old Wallet at her wedding would lead to a heart-stopping twist. I will never forget the day everything fell apart. It began with laughter, clinking glasses, and the shimmering elegance of a reception hall. But there I was standing in the corner, feeling invisible. My heart raced as the bride, my once best friend, clapped her hands and called me out in front of everyone. Old Wallet, come on up. The laughter rippled like waves, crashing over me, and my cheeks burned with shame. For a moment, I was engulfed in a haze of confusion and embarrassment. Old Wallet? The name hit harder than a punch. Memories flooded back, years of our friendship, the secrets shared over late-night talks. How had I become just a punchline? The shimmering lights above seemed to flicker ominously, casting eerie shadows against the walls, each flicker echoing the laughter that stung like salt in an open wound. The room was filled with faces I knew, and yet I felt so alone. My mom had always told me that weddings are a mirror of true feelings. Looking around, I could see suppressed smiles, hidden glances. Their eyes glittered with curiosity and judgment, and I was certain they whispered, "What happened to her?" I choked back a mix of tears and anger as I approached the makeshift stage. I wanted to stride boldly to reclaim my dignity, but each step felt heavier, like walking through quicksand. The crowd's laughter echoed in my ears, a haunting melody that wrapped itself around me. I had planned to be happy for her, to join in her joy, but now all I felt was the grip of sadness. Would I ever escape the shadow of this nickname? Then, just as I reached the front, I couldn't help but notice the exquisite bouquet thrown from the bride's hand. It danced in the air, sparkling white and green like a moment frozen in time. But there, tangled within those petals, an unfamiliar glint caught my eye. What was that? As I leaned closer, the laughter faded into a silence so thick it pressed down on my chest. I gasped when I saw it, a small silver locket. The initials engraved on it sent shivers down my spine. CB. Those initials didn't belong in this celebration. They belonged to a ghost from the past, a name long buried in the depths of my memory. My hands trembled as I reached for it. The instant my fingers touched that cold metal, I felt a rush of regret mixed with fear. What did this mean? I could sense the eyes on me, weighing my every move. Suddenly, all the laughter, all the joy was gone, replaced by a thick, foreboding silence. Every heartbeat echoed in my ears as I realized I stood on the precipice of something I couldn't understand, something dark and twisting. And just when I thought I could breathe again, my phone buzzed in my pocket. I fumbled for it, my heart racing. A message glowed back at me. "I know what you found. You're not safe." The chilling words sent ice through my veins. I locked eyes with the bride, remembering the laughter, the friendship, and now the betrayal. I felt my whole world tip, the ground shifting beneath me as I grasped at reality. Everything I thought I knew was unraveling. What had I gotten into? What did the locket mean? Had I opened a door that I could never close again? I felt an urgent need to run, to disappear. But now I was cornered by curiosity and dread. Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. The locket felt heavier than it looked, an anchor of memories I was not prepared to dredge up. My heart thundered as I met the bride's gaze again, searching for any hint of betrayal or truth. But all I saw was shock. Did she know about the locket? The thought twisted my stomach into knots. And the message on my phone nagged at me, a warning echoing louder with each passing second. The laughter seemed like a distant memory now, replaced by whispers of my past. I could hardly breathe as I staggered backward. Without thinking, I slipped the locket into my purse, hiding it from the ever-watchful eyes surrounding me. I took a step back, racing through a whirlwind of emotions: fear, shame, anger, longing for answers. "Old Wallet, are you all right?" A familiar voice broke through the noise. It was Claire, one of my old acquaintances. She stepped closer, concern etched on her face. For a flickering moment, I felt connected to something greater than my chaos. But the connections I once felt with people seemed dim against the shadows of memories that haunted me. I'm fine, I managed, though my voice trembled. Are you sure? We were just having a good laugh, she continued, her voice light, failing to recognize the turmoil that churned within me. No, it's not that. It's just an old nickname. I cut her off, not wanting to dive deeper into this mess. I turned away, wishing to escape the unfamiliar warmth of sympathy that only reminded me of my solitude. But as I pushed through the crowd, the space felt too small, too suffocating. With each step, my mind raced back to the days of Carly and me from years ago, the carefree summers adorned with laughter, shared secrets, and a pact that felt unbreakable. At some point, everything had morphed, the bond eroded by whispers of betrayal, revealing hidden layers of truth that I hadn't been strong enough to confront at the time. The locket felt like a physical manifestation of all that I had pushed aside. That I stepped out onto the balcony, seeking solace in the night air. The cool breeze wrapped around me, a soothing balm compared to the stifling atmosphere of the hall. I leaned against the railing, trying to ground myself, inhaling deeply with the desperate hope that clarity might come with each breath. But clarity didn't come. In its place, a figure emerged from the shadows, stepping into the soft glow of the moonlight. You shouldn't have come here, he said, his voice laden with tension. It was Lucas, my childhood friend, whose reappearance in my life always seemed to come with both warmth and a sense of foreboding. Lucas, what are you doing here? I stammered, the tang of dread weaving through my words. I got your message, he replied, glancing nervously over his shoulder as if sensing invisible eyes watching us. You shouldn't mess with things you don't understand, especially with that locket in your possession. Things I don't understand? What are you talking about? Panic rose in my chest as his grim expression anchored me in uncertainty. The moment hung heavy between us, wrapping me in a cocoon of worry. You really need to see what's inside it, he urged, leaning closer, his eyes pleading. Please just trust me. Could mean everything. Everything? You mean everything I have lost? I spat back, bitterness spilling from within me. You don't know what I'm dealing with. Actually, I do, he countered sharply. You have no idea how deep this runs. The past isn't just going to disappear. Not unless you confront it. Before I could respond, the door behind us swung open, and a voice piped up, Hey old wallet, you out here sulking? It was Dan, a mutual friend, with mockery dancing in his tone. My chest tightened even more at the laughter that followed. Echoing through the night, Lucas shot him a glare, his face twisting in frustration. Back off, Dan! But Dan merely laughed, bringing a fresh wave of humiliation crashing over me. I wanted to shout, to cry out that this wasn't just a joke, that it was my life. But I felt small again, just a shadow amid the chaos that surrounded me. As the laughter echoed in the night, I turned back towards Lucas, fear and determination colliding within me. What do I need to do? His eyes met mine, and in that instant, I caught a glimpse of hope mingled with lingering dread. Somehow there was a path ahead, a dark path filled with shadows and whispers, but a path that beckoned for revelation. But just as I was about to talk, my phone buzzed again. My breath caught as I saw the new message. You have to choose, you can't keep running. Choose wisely. The words warped the air around me, and I realized I was no longer in control. My heart raced anew, colliding wildly against the uncertainty swirling within and beyond. What had I stumbled upon tonight? What future lay ahead where choices hung like dire threads waiting to be pulled? It felt like the ground beneath me was about to give way, ready to plunge me into an uncertainty I had never asked for. The stars flickered overhead as if they too were holding their breath, bearing witness to the storm brewing within me. I turned back to Lucas, my heart pounding with a mix of anger and fear. What do you know? What do you really want from me? His eyes darkened, and for a moment, I saw flashes of the boy I had once played with before secrets tangled our lives into a web of hurt. I want you to understand your past, old wallet. I want you to know the truth, he said carefully, the weight of his words sinking in the air between us. Those who hold the locket have a duty to uncover its purpose. It's not just a trinket. I shook my head violently as the tension threatened to pull me apart. This is insane. What purpose could a piece of jewelry serve except to remind me of everything I've lost? Everything you've lost, sure, but also everything you have yet to find, he insisted, stepping closer, urgency etched into his features. There's a reason it came back to you tonight. And I know it's overwhelming, but you need to open. My fingers brushed the locket hidden in my purse, an electric pulse racing through me at the thought of revealing its secrets. But fear clenched my heart tighter than any bond Carolyn and I had forged long ago. The past was not a gentle companion. It clawed at the edges of my mind, eager to drag me back into its suffocating grasp. Before I could respond, Dawn's carefree laughter cut through the thick air again, reminding me of the other lives orbiting mine. I felt small, lost amidst their merriment. As if sensing my plight, Lucas reached out, capturing my gaze. "Trust me," he whispered, relinquishing a fragile sense of connect. I own a bridge over the chasm of confusion. "What if I don't want to trust you?" I snapped, a coping mechanism flaring to life. "Then this cycle will never end," Lucas said softly. "What do you want? Do you want to continue running from the truth?" The night air felt heavy with possibilities as I silently battled my demons. But deep down, a flicker of defiance ignited. And what if I find something I'm not ready for? I challenged. What if confronting this doesn't bring peace? "Peace isn't easy, especially when you've buried it beneath years of fear," he replied, his voice unwavering. "But it is possible. You need to be brave." I clenched my fists, feeling the locket's weight and the burden of my choices pressing down on me. Just then a memory surged, vivid as day. Carly and I, lying in the grass, our fingers entwined, whispering dreams of who we wanted to be. Laughter, hope, and promises filled the air, reminding me of who I once was, the innocence yet to be tainted by betrayal. Lucas took a step back, his expression softening. "I can't force you to make a choice, but the invitation is there. You have friends here, people who care. You don't have to do this alone." His words stirred a tide of hope, splashing against the bleakness that encased me. But just as I contemplated the possibility of acceptance and healing, my phone buzzed again. Panic skated down my spine. I fished it out and noticed the contact was unknown. The message was abrupt, bare. "They know you're here." Every instinct screamed at me to run, to retreat from this precarious cliffhanger life had thrust me into. I glanced at Lucas, who had paled slightly, instinctively understanding the weight of that text. "Who knows?" I shot back, seconds from my initial instinct to flee, but he leaned closer, urgency igniting his eyes. "We should go. Now." But I didn't want to leave, not when the fog of uncertainty hovered so close. "And what? Give up?" I countered. "I can't go on living in fear. Life isn't about running, but sometimes you must retreat to live, to fight another day," he urged softly, glancing again toward the door. "Please trust me on this." But an undeniable truth loomed, a mixture of pain and potential awaited me, just on the other side of that locket. "I need to know," I murmured, the words breaking like waves over the shore of uncertainty. "I can't retreat. I have to face this. There's only so much time," Lucas pressed, glancing anxiously at the gathering shadows. The undeniable fear of the unknown wrapped around me like a tight cocoon, and with it came the exhilaration of choice. With my heart hammering, I suspended that moment of intimacy, that fragile connection. I made my choice, holding my breath as I asked, "Can you help me?" "That's all I've ever wanted," he said, a flicker of relief in his voice, the tension easing slightly. "Together we'll uncover the truth." But before we could unravel the mystery, the door burst open again, and a figure strode out in a whirlwind of confidence, eyes locking onto mine. Clear as day, but far too familiar. It was Carly. Every unresolved pain, all the unsaid words flooded back in one crushing moment. "We need to talk," she said, her voice steady, but the chaotic undertones trembled just beneath the surface, ripping through the barrage of emotions, swirling a storm ready to break. And in that instant, with Lucas beside me, I knew the path to the truth had just become more complicated than I ever imagined. The chaotic buzz of laughter and music in the background faded into a tight silence, as if the whole world had paused to witness the unfolding rift between us. Carly stood there, framed in the doorway, her fierce gaze intent on mine. 1,000 unspoken questions hung heavily in the air, weighed down by years of silence and hurt. "Carly," I breathed, my heart racing not just at the sight of her but at the vulnerability that surged within me. Memories of our shared laughter flooded my senses, chasing away the dark cloud of doubt that had enveloped me moments ago. Yet, those same cheerful memories were now tinged with pain, each whisper of joy becoming a reminder of everything that had been lost. "Now is not the time," Lucas interjected, stepping between us, his voice low and urgent. But a part of me was already too far gone, pulled by the gravitational force of my past. No, Lucas. I need to hear this, I replied, equal parts defiant and desperate. I reached a hand towards Carly, an invitation wrapped in uncertainty. I needed to unravel this moment, no matter how painful it might prove to be. Talk, I urged, hoping to find a lifeline in her words. Carly hesitated, her shoulders tense. She glanced sharply at Lucas, whose eyes flickered with a mixture of protectiveness and concern. You don't know what you're getting into, she warned him before turning back to me. It's not just about the locket. It's about everything that's happened since. That singular phrase clawed at me like a relentless tide, dragging memories of betrayal and heartbreak into the forefront of my mind. Why had she left? Why had I let fear drive us apart? I didn't want to fight, but the remnants of anger simmered just beneath my skin, ready to ignite. Yet beneath it all, an unexpected kindness stirred in me, a longing to bridge the chasm separating us, to reach her amidst the chaos of our shared past. Please, I implored softly, almost pleading, just tell me. She inhaled deeply, her expression softening for the briefest of moments. I know about the locket, and I know you've been scared to face what it means. But there's more. A reason it found its way back to you tonight. What reason? I asked, adrenaline threading its way through my veins. Because, she whispered, her voice barely above a breath. You're not just being watched. You're being hunted. The weight of her revelation crashed over me. A wave swelling with fear and anticipation. Hunted? I repeated, feeling my limbs grow cold. What do you mean? Someone wants that locket, she pressed, her gaze darting to Lucas briefly before locking back on mine. Anguish and concern etched into her features. And they'll stop at nothing to get it from you. It holds something far more than just memories or mysteries. You have to understand, it's a KY heart raced, the notion creeping in more frightening than excitement. Key to what? I don't know, but it's not just a family heirloom. Her voice broke as she leaned in closer, and I saw beneath her bravado something raw and frightened, maybe even lost. There are people out there who will do anything to own it. Not just for its history, but for what it could unlock. I never wanted you to get caught in this, Danielle. I did what I had to do to keep you safe. A mix of disbelief and anger roared to life within me. By leaving? By pretending you didn't care? The lump in my throat rose again, threatening to suffocate me. You broke me. Carly took a step back, visibly shaken. It was never that simple. You don't see the bigger picture. That day I left, I didn't have a choice. Not if I wanted to protect whom? Yourself? The accusation hung between us, icy and unwelcome, but I couldn't reclaim the weight of our history without dragging it to the forefront. Protect this family, she exclaimed, fists clenched. And the choices we made to survive. I thought I was shielding you from something terrible, Danielle. From something I couldn't control. I didn't want you to be part of this darkness. But I didn't feel protected, only further enveloped by the shadows of secrets and lies that danced ever closer, threatening to consume every hope I clung to. And running away protected me how? I thought it would keep you away from the truth that could destroy us, she whispered. Or just destroy me? I countered, eyes pricking with tears. Why should I believe you? You're the one who left. Because I came back. Her voice escalated, tempered by urgency. It means something. It means there's still time to figure out what's at stake before it's too late for all of us. The unrelenting silence was punctured only by muffled sounds of festivities still carrying on behind us, a stark contrast to the turmoil that roiled within my chest. Lucas cleared his throat, his presence weighing heavily against the charged atmosphere. We need to move now. They might already be on our trail if they know what we're up against. I felt torn. The desire for connection battling alongside my instinct to flee and protect what little ground I had left. Who knows we're here, Carly? I inquired, desperation clawing at my throat. But before she could respond, a sudden crash echoed from behind, reverberating through the open door. Voices raised, shouting, yelling. A breath-stopping moment engulfed. Usual was chaos as shadows moved menacingly, their faces obscured in the dim lights. The laughter that had once enveloped the gathering had turned to panicked. We have to go, Lucas shouted, grabbing my arm. But I couldn't tear my gaze from Carly's frantic expression. No, I cried, uncertain whether it was for the truth or for her. Please, but she was already retreating, the distance between us widening. You can't trust anyone, she warned, her voice swallowed by the rumble of footsteps approaching, inescapably eager to disrupt everything we had. I could see the terror written on her face, fear mingling with a desperate resolve. With one last pleading look, she bolted into the crowd just as the door creaked ominously open. Lucas pulled me close, the metallic tang of fear sharp on my tongue. "Danielle now," he urged, the urgency in his voice seeping like adrenaline into my veins, igniting a rally of hope amidst the uncertainty. My heart raced as we dashed into the night, the world behind me falling away. But all I could think of was Carly's face, the turmoil, the truth cloaked inside a bundle of secrets that remained tantalizingly out of reach. And as we disappeared into the curtain of shadows, I couldn't shake the haunting whispers of the past that warned me. The real fight had only just begun. The chill of the night air settled sharply around me as Lucas pulled us deeper into the darkness, the laughter and chaos of the party fading into the distance. My breath came in quick, shallow bursts, each step feeling heavier than the last. The adrenaline surged and mingled with an unnerving fear, echoing the disarray that churned in my heart. "Where are we going?" I managed to ask, desperate to break through the turmoil of thoughts spiraling within me. My pulse was racing, not just from the chase we were fleeing from something formidable I couldn't grasp yet, complemented by the knowledge that everything I thought I knew was built upon a house of cards. "For now, we need to get to safety," Lucas replied, his voice strained but steady as he led the way through a web of dimly lit alleys. His grip on my wrist was firm, reassuring in its intensity, but I caught the flicker of something worry-laden in his gaze that pulled at my insides. "Well, figure this out." "Figure it out." The words echoed mockingly in my mind, a bitter reminder of how ill-prepared I truly felt. The weight of Carly's revelation still lingered, heavy and suffocating. Someone was hunting me. It was absurd, yet the knowledge clawed mercilessly at the edges of my sanity. "Did you hear what she said?" I asked, my voice barely a whisper as we rounded a corner, the shadows thickening around us. "About the locket?" Lucas stopped abruptly, turning to face me, his brow lined with unease. "Yes, I did. But right now we can't afford to discuss it." "But it's not just about me anymore," I interrupted, emotions threatening to explode within me. "This is dangerous. If there are people out there who want what I have," the realization alone made my stomach lurch. "What do we do then? How do I protect Danielle?" Lucas stepped closer, his intense gaze grounding me momentarily. "Protecting yourself starts with understanding that running is the only option we have right now. We need to." A sudden sound pierced through the night, a rustle in the shadows, then running footsteps. My heart lurched, instincts jolting to life. Fear coiled in my gut, but when Lucas moved to retreat further into the alley, I flinched. "No," I gasped, fear snaking through me. "They can track us from there. We only have a few moments before they realize where we went," he countered urgently. The ground shook beneath the weight of an unseen threat, and I felt it stir in my bones. "Trust me, trust." The very word felt fragile and almost laughable considering the emotional storm I had just stepped out of. Yet as confused and terrified as I felt, I didn't know anyone else I could turn to. Not after Carly's bombshell. "Okay," I whispered, even as uncertainty twisted through me like a knife. We rushed down another narrow passageway, barely illuminated by the flickering streetlights that fought against the growing darkness. As we navigated the maze of buildings, I struggled to gather my thoughts, pushing through the panic that threatened to unravel me. "What are we looking for?" "A place to regroup. A door where we can catch our breath," and his words were cut off by the blaring of sirens in the distance, a chilling reminder of the urgency pressing down upon us. Panic clawed at my throat as I cast a glance over my shoulder, the shadows stretching like ominous fingers in the alley. "They're coming," I said breathlessly. "We need to move faster." In that moment of desperate urgency, amidst the shadows and sirens echoing a haunting dirge, I felt a flicker of unexpected warmth, the fleeting moment of kindness from a stranger. As we rounded a corner, I spotted a small cafe illuminated by soft lights. An open sign flickered defiantly against the chaos. It was likely closing down for the night, but perhaps there, I shouted, pointing to the entrance. "We can hide inside," Lucas nodded, his eyes darting to the approaching sounds. "Go." I pushed through the door, the chime above it ringing like a lifeline through the uncertain air. The small cafe was nearly empty, save for a couple hunched over a table, deep in hushed conversation. I didn't hesitate, racing across the wooden floor. Lucas right behind me. I peered through the large windows, my heart pounding, as the world outside remained oblivious to us. The sirens faded into the distance, and for a moment, just a moment, it felt as if we had escaped the storm. But as adrenaline began to fade, panic settled in its place. What if they found us? I gasped, clutching the edge of the table. What if those people come here? Lucas drew in a deep breath, running a hand through his disheveled hair. For now we keep quiet. We can't draw attention to ourselves. Not when we don't know who's coming after you. My mind reeled. Who could want the locket? And why now? He shrugged, his eyes cast down, swirling with the doubt that echoed my own fears. Whatever's inside it must be incredibly valuable. They could be from some ancient order or have personal ties to your family. I don't know, Danielle. But this goes deeper than we realized. In that charged moment, amid the dim lighting and the couple's hushed debate at the other end of the cafe, a stranger caught my eye, an elderly woman seated at the counter, her hands weathered but gentle as she wrapped her fingers around a steaming mug. She caught sight of us, and though there was confusion in her stare, she held it steady, almost protective. Something shifted in the air, a flicker of solidarity. In this vast ocean of unknown and unexpected kindness shone through, igniting a small spark of hope within my heart. Look, Lucas breathed, his gaze moving to the woman. Maybe his voice trailed off, considering something. But before he could say more, the cafe door swung open, the bells clanging insistently once again, and my breath caught in my throat as a figure stepped inside, silhouetted against the lights, a roaming ghost from my past, more familiar than I could have ever wished. My mind raced, the lines of my reality blurring into an ineffable dread. Carly was right. The darkness had followed us yet again, and with it hung the weight of precarious truths that felt poised to tear every fragile connection I had left apart. What did this mean? As the figure stepped closer, my heart pounded in my chest, a dizzying swirl of hope and fear coalescing within me. I was caught between the undeniable pull of the past and the unknown that loomed ahead, an unanticipated cliffhanger that threatened to plunge me deeper into the storm. The moment felt suspended in time, a palpable silence enveloping the cafe as I recognized the familiar figure stepping through the door. It was Claire, my sister. The last person I had expected to see, her presence igniting all the dormant emotions I thought I had buried beneath fear and uncertainty. Danielle? She called, her voice tinged with disbelief and concern, sending a shiver of recognition through me. I was torn between relief at her sudden appearance and dread that this was merely another complication in an already chaotic evening. I instinctively turned to Lucas, my heart thundering in panic. What's she doing here? How could she possibly know where I was? The questions rushed through my mind in a torrent. Danielle, is it really you? Claire took a tentative step forward, her eyes darting around the cafe, landing on Lucas with a quizzical expression. Claire. I managed to choke out, my heart aching at the sight of her. How did you find me? I just came to clear my head, she said, but the tremor in her voice betrayed her uncertainty. I was at the party too. I saw you slip away with him. She nodded toward Lucas, who appeared equally perplexed by the situation. Claire's sudden presence felt both like a lifeline and a weight around my neck, an entwining of familial love and an impending sense of doom. My identity felt like a delicate fabric, caught in a storm, unraveling as people I loved encroached upon this mess without knowing the danger lurking behind it. The elderly woman at the counter hesitated, taking a long sip from her mug, a knowing gaze resting on us as if she sensed the tension brewing. But the cafe felt eerily hushed, the air thick with questions that demanded answers. Danielle, Claire began, her brow furrowed as she crossed the distance between us. Are you okay? You look scared. I am scared, Claire, I admitted, glancing at Lucas for support. He placed a hand on my shoulder, a silent reminder that I was not alone. We're running from something. Something dangerous, who? The urgency in her voice made my stomach twist. What's going on? Why do you look like you've seen a ghost? Trust me, I've been asking myself the same question, I replied, the words spilling out before I could tame them. I just found out about the locket. It's linked to something bigger and they're coming after me. Claire's face paled as she glanced toward Lucas. Her expression shifted, transforming from concern to determination. If someone is after you, then we need to make a plan. I can help. I can reach out, Tono. I interjected, panic rising in my chest at the thought of her entangling herself further into this mess. You don't know what you're asking. This isn't safe. I can't put you at risk, Claire. She stepped closer, a fierce resolve in her eyes. You're my sister. I won't turn my back on you no matter how dangerous it is. The warmth of her words wrapped around me like a blanket, grounding me as I faced the emotional tide rising within and my mind raced with the possibilities. But uncertainty loomed over us like a storm cloud. But if they find out you helped before I could finish? A sudden clatter of a chair skidding across the floor broke the moment. The couple at the far table stood, looking towards us with narrowed eyes, their hushed conversation extinguished. An unspoken urgency flickered between them, and I sensed they were tied to this unraveling chaos in a way I couldn't yet decipher. Everything is connected, Lucas murmured, his voice low and urgent, drawing my attention back to the creeping tension. We don't know who's listening. We need to stay low. Maybe they know something, Claire suggested, her voice tinged with newfound determination. We can ask them. No, I interrupted sharply, the overwhelming tide of fear rising again. We can't involve anyone else. Before I could finish speaking, the cafe door swung open once more. A sound echoed through the air, footsteps accompanied by murmurs. My pulse quickened as I turned to find two men in dark suits, their steely gazes sweeping the interior like a predator scanning its territory. They exuded an air of authority that sent a chill down my spine. Danielle, one of them called, his voice smooth but chilling. You need to come with us. That I felt the world tilt beneath me. They had found me. Those cold, merciless eyes fixed on me, filled with the promise of something sinister. My stomach plummeted as I gripped the table, Lucas's hand tightening on my shoulder. To know, I cried, instinct coiling within me like a spring, ready to burst into action. If I had learned anything from the uncertainty of the night, it was that I couldn't run again. I needed to stand my ground. Clarigo, I shouted, urgency flooding my voice as I pushed her back. Get out of here. You have to. But as I turned to face the men, a definitive line of resolve formed in Lucas's stance, an unwavering strength radiating from him. We won't let you take her, he declared, grounding me in that singular moment, bolstering the spark of hope amidst the chaos. As the tension thickened in the air, my heart ached with the weight of the choices ahead. Hope flickered like a candle in the storm, but I was on the precipice of something darker, staring down at the unknown that waited below. And just like that, with Claire caught between escape and the mounting danger, I realized the chaos was only beginning. Each decision led deeper into a maelstrom of hidden truths, and I was left to wonder whose side everyone was truly on as the storm surged around us. I never imagined being called Old Wallet at her wedding would lead to a heart-stopping twist, yet here I was, grappling with the surreal reality of the imminent threat that surrounded us. The men in suits stepped closer, their expressions revealing nothing but a chilling commitment to their purpose. I could feel every heartbeat thudding in my ears like the warning of a clock winding down on our precious moments. The cafe felt smaller, and the flickering lights seemed to dim further in their presence. Danielle, the taller of the two men, said, a deceptive warmth lurking behind his words. It's time to come with us. You have something that belongs to us. Fear coursed through me, fierce and unyielding. I could hardly swallow as the insinuation hung in the air, suffocating all rational thought. What could I possibly have that was of value to them? The locket? The secrets it held? The very idea that I was a mere pawn in someone else's game sent a shiver down my spine. And no. The word came out more defiantly than I intended, infused with the desperation of uncharted resolve. You can't take me. Believe me, it's in your best interest to cooperate. The smirk on the second man's face made my blood boil. I glanced at Lucas, whose grip on my shoulder tightened as if he could shield me from the reality of the moment, and then at Claire, her eyes wide, filled with a mixture of fear and fierce determination. My heart wavered at the sight of her, the sister who was willing to defy everything for me, caught in this unending turmoil. But I couldn't afford to be weak, not now. Why don't you tell us what you really want? Lucas challenged, his voice low yet steady, a fire igniting in his eyes that urged me to stand tall beside him. It was something I had desperately needed. Someone who wouldn't shy away from the dark enough games. The taller man stepped forward, scanning the cafe for anyone who might be listening, as if every breath we took was an echo in the cavity of impending doom. What you hold in that locket is far from mundane. His words clung to the air, wrapped in an unyielding promise that I wasn't ready to unravel. A choking heat bloomed in my chest as I clutched the locket, hidden deep within my pocket. So much emotions had swirled around Ida balm for old wounds, a link to family, and now, a tether to a web of danger I had never asked to join. Claire's hand reached for me, her fingers brushing mine in a heartbeat of solidarity. Danielle, we need to leave. Now that I end that moment, I didn't see just my sister. I saw the fierce bond we shared, forged by the fires of childhood and childish fights. I thought back to those seasons when silly conflicts bloomed over petty disagreements. Call me old wallet all you want, but those days felt like sacred spells against the harsh realities that would come to test us. But now a sense of foreboding stood heavy in the air, choking off the memories that flickered across my mind. No, I said quieter this time, as fear seeped back into my resolve. If I leave with them, Claire, then we won't try to save you, she completed, her own fear laid bare in her voice. We do this together. Did I end those seconds of stillness, surrounded by strangers who were anything but innocent? Something shifted. The balance between flight and fight weighed heavily in the air. Lucas took a careful step forward, unwarranted confidence shining through despite his own uncertainty, and addressed the suits. Your threats don't intimidate us, and there's no way we're letting you take her without a fight. My heart swelled at finding unexpected courage in the face of our reality. Perhaps there was strength in standing my ground. And as the tension crackled around us, I knew sleep would no longer be an option until I faced whatever storm loomed ahead. But before I could form a reply, the cafe door swung open with a dramatic flourish. A gust of wind swept inside, followed by a hooded figure, cloaked in shadows. The atmosphere shifted instantly, a subtle anticipation twisting in the air, a crack of hope slicing through the encroaching dread. Danielle, the figure called, voice surprisingly gentle yet commanding. I've come to help. My heart sized a confusing mix of vulnerability and burgeoning hope. Who was this stranger and how did they know my name? The intensity swelled, turning the moment electric. There, in the heart of the storm that had gathered, I felt a glimmer of light amid the darkness, yet the shadows still loomed, heavy with the weight of myriad questions. Time teetered on the edge as I grappled with the unknown, and with every faceless gaze among the throngs of patrons, I feared the next piece of the puzzle would unlock a truth far more terrifying than anything I had faced thus far. And above all, as I shared an uncertain glance with Lucas and Claire, it hung thick in the air. Who could I trust when everything I held dear felt like a delicate lie? The figure stepped forward, lowering their hood to reveal a face that sent a shockwave through me, hauntingly familiar yet draped in shadows. It was Evelyn, my childhood friend who had vanished without a trace almost a decade ago. Her eyes, dark and filled with an urgency that transcended time, locked onto mine, and in that electric moment, all fear and uncertainty began to peel away. Evelyn? My voice wavered, disbelief threading through every syllable. How could this be happening? It wasn't just the sight of her. It was the declaration of her presence, resonating with buried memories, skinned knees, shared secrets, laughter in the face of an uncertain world. Danielle, she repeated softly, and for a moment, everything around us faded, leaving only the sway of nostalgia and the piercing reality of our current predicament. My heart hammered in recognition and confusion, both thrilled and terrified to see her. Get away from her! Shouted the taller man, breaking the silence like glass shattering under pressure. He advanced, but Evelyn's presence seemed to create an invisible barrier, a pulse of protective energy that filled the space. Stop! Evelyn commanded, her voice firm yet laced with fear. Danielle is not part of your game anymore. She's under my protection. Your protection? Huddled deep within me, but the moment wasn't about unraveling the mysteries of time lost. There was no time for that. My gaze flitted from Lucas to Claire, their faces brimming with bewilderment and awe as they processed the weight of her words. I'm here to explain. Not to fight, Evelyn said, her voice steady yet softening. But I need you to trust me, Danielle. It's dangerous and there are things we all need to know. What's going on? I demanded, my voice tinged with accusation and sadness. You vanished. Why would you come back now? They're here for me, and I don't understand any of this. Evelyn's expression softened, her vulnerability seeping through the armor she'd worn. I know, but this is bigger than you and me. They're looking for something that should have remained hidden. You have to believe me. It's critical. The men in suits shifted uneasily but remained poised, their breath becoming a collective rhythm of waiting dread. It seemed like every soul in the cafe held their breath in solidarity, caught in a moment suspended between action and consequence. Critical? What could possibly be so critical that it involves you? I took a tremulous step closer, trying to bridge the chasm that had formed over years of silence. Your locket, Danielle, she breathed, her eyes darting to my pocket. It's not just a piece of jewelry. It holds answers, ancient secrets that could change everything. Some people would kill to possess that power. Cold prickles of terror jabbed at the base of my spine as I instinctively clutched the locket tighter against my skin. What answers? What secrets? And why now, when everything felt desolate and unsure? Lucas and Claire exchanged bewildered glances. I could read the worry etched in their expressions. They had stood by me at my lowest, and now I was unsure how to protect them from this new wave of turmoil. That we need to leave, Danielle, Lucas urged, lowering his voice as if whispering would soften the truth we all felt pressing down like weights on our shoulders. This isn't safe. Evelyn turned her gaze to the two men, the warmth of her trust in me illuminating the cold space between fear and bravery. If we leave now, the locket will remain with you. They won't stop pursuing you. You'll never be able to live freely. You need to understand the power it holds and the rising tension. Claire grasped my hand firmly, her trust unwavering in the chaos around us. We're not leaving you behind. Whatever this is, we'll handle it together. I in that moment, a flicker of determination ignited within me, but with it came a swell of dread. Choosing between the familiar comfort of my sister and Lucas, or the pulsating unknown offered by Evelyn thrust me into an emotional chasm. Trust her, Danielle, Lucas said, his heart exposed in every facet of his voice. Well, figure it out. We have to fight for the truth. But before I could voice a decision, the door swung open once more, a harsh, unexpected intrusion that sent a wave of panic clattering through the cafe. Another man in a suit burst through, this one far more menacing than the last two. A flash of recognition crossed my Minda face I knew all too well from the snippets of my family's history. Someone I had only glimpsed in shadows of the past. Danielle, he said with a chilling calmness that froze my blood. You should have stayed hidden. Seems you've made some friends. But friends can't protect you from what's coming. With those words the air turned heavy with finality. But in the depths of my heart, seeds of defiance began to sprout. I didn't know what the future held or what would come next, but felt an urgent need to stand my ground regardless of the peril. As my heart tangled in uncertainty, the pit of the cafe became a ground zero for truths buried in generational secrets, the shadows of the past looming with vengeance. As these realizations swirled in my head, the stakes had escalated like fire caught in the wind, forcing me to reckon with the gravity of choices unmade and debts long unpaid. And in that moment, time froze as I faced not just the reality of the threats before me, but the undeniable truth that our lives would never be the same again. The cafe felt alive, the air electrified with tension as if all our collective fears had become a palpable entity, swirling around us like the scent of brewing coffee. I glanced back at Evelyn, whose face lay cloaked with urgency, yet there was an unmistakable familiarity laced through her anxiety, reflection of the bond we had once shared, a bond that had unraveled over the years. Danielle, we don't have time, Evelyn insisted, her voice a blend of worry and warmth that flickered a long-buried instinct to trust her, if only for a heartbeat amidst the chaos. What do you mean, the locket? It's just a family heirloom, I challenged, my grip tightening around the cool metal, searching for clarity as confusion clouded my thoughts. How can it possibly? Everything is connected, she cut in passionately, her dark eyes brimming with a lifetime of stories I had yet to learn. Your family, my disappearance, the people who want what they believe you have. They won't stop until they find it, no matter what it costs. The men began moving closer, their intent palpable, slicing through the air like an unrelenting knife. Instinct kicked in, prompting me to draw closer to Lucas and Claire, seeking solace in their steadfast presence. Danielle, we have to go. Right now. Lucas pressed, urgency etching deeper lines into his brow. When his fingers brushed against mine, I could feel the warmth of hope battling against the chill of fear. Evelyn held my gaze, pulling me momentarily into a silence that resonated with missed years and shared knowledge. You know me. We can make it out. I promised. In the midst of everything, a soft but persistent chime sounded, soothing yet unnerving, a cell phone across the cafe that resonated more loudly than it was ever meant to. The tone was jarring against the backdrop of danger. It belonged to Claire, who hesitated, eyes flicking to the screen. "Is it safe?" she whispered, caught in the web of reality and surging adrenaline. I glanced at her for a moment, then at the advancing figures who were almost within grasp of our vulnerability. "What if it's your mom? She might know something that can help," I murmured, darting my gaze back to the upcoming conflict. Claire's eyes widened, a flicker of hope igniting in her. Perhaps the answer could be a safety line amidst this storm. Yet, the risk was palpable, the tension suffocating as the men continued their slow, methodical advance. "Do you trust her?" Evelyn's voice was urgent now, laced with hope and a touch of desperation. "I do," Claire assured Evelyn, and then, almost as if she needed to be the anchor, her voice rose above the anticipatory breaths of the cafe. "I'll take the call, just stay close." She stepped slightly away, and I felt the distance being sown between us, but I trusted her instincts. Yet as I watched her speak into the phone, my heart raced, not only for her safety but for the threads of fate that were being woven tighter around all of us with every heartbeat. The call broke through the tension, but it was jagged, riddled with interference and static. I could hear Claire's voice, urgency bubbling beneath the surface as she asked questions too soon for answers. My heart thudded as I weighed options, torn between two separate worlds, one of family ties and loyalty, the other tied to Evelyn's warnings and the sinister presence of those creeping nearer. Evelyn gripped my arm, anchoring me in place as the men stumbled, caught off guard by the unexpected rupture. "Now's our chance," she exclaimed, but as we moved towards the door, Claire let out a small gasp, her wide eyes locking onto something behind the incoming men. My heart dropped at the sight of another familiar face, this one even more unsettling than the previous. "Danielle." The voice rang out, cutting through the chaos. It was a voice I hadn't heard in years. "Me father." "Stay away," I shouted instinctively stepping protectively in front of Lucas and Claire. "You don't belong here." "Danielle, listen to me. I'm trying to help you." My father's voice was desperate, nearly pleading. The truth in his eyes was muddied by years of absence and regret, and just like that, my world was unmoored yet again as I stood amidst the encroaching shadows, pool of future swirling in uncertainty. A disorienting question loomed. Who was friend and who was foe? In that terrifying instant, the net of lies tightened around me, its suffocating grip warning me that revelations were stirring just beneath the surface, ready to shatter the already trembling ground between past and present. The stakes had risen, and now I could feel destiny's hands closing around our throats, ready to echo through an unforgiving timeline, and I could sense that in the hours to come, nothing would ever be the same again. The weight of unfamiliar pasts pressed heavy against my chest as I stared into the eyes of my father, the man who had shaped so much of my life through absence. His presence ignited old wounds, memories both shadowed and illuminated by longing and unanswered questions. I had long wrestled with the narrative of my childhood, and now that I stood at the intersection of pain and choices, I felt the threads of fate tugging insistently. "Stay away," I shouted, fueled by a decade of anger and determination. "You lost the right to help me the moment you walked away." Every word shattered like glass, splintering into pieces that echoed through the cafe. "Danielle, please. I didn't come for me. I came for you." His face was pale, fear etched into every contour. "You don't know who's coming for you. You don't understand what's at stake." My heart twisted, torn between the flickering sparks of hope and the refreshing lessons of betrayal. "No, you don't get to just show up and claim you want to protect me." My voice wavered, each phrase tightening the grip I held on the reins of my heart. "Those men over there, are they here for me because of you?" The two men, relentless and predatory in their intent, remained rooted just beyond the threshold, their expressions swirling between amusement and unwavering authority. "Enough games," the taller one said, glancing at my father with a mixture of disdain and malice. "It's too late to play the protector. Come with us, Danielle." "Never," I said defiantly, though my heart fluttered with the foreboding echoes of threats vaguely understood. I glanced at Lucas and Claire. The unity we'd built felt stronger, bolstering my resolve. But even as I prepared for a fight, uncertainty gripped me like marching soldiers closing in from all sides. "You don't even know what you're looking for," I continued, anchored by their presence. "Do you?" My father shot back, his voice a whirlwind of frustration. "What you're holding in that locket is your family's legacy. It's alive with secrets, truths you were never meant to uncover. What truths? I cried, desperation slicing through my anger. Why didn't you ever tell me? What makes you think I could trust you now? Because I've risked everything to bring you back into the fold, Danielle. A moment hung heavy between us. I've been watching over you. Even when I couldn't reach you. You're in danger and I can't know, I won't let them take you. The sirens drowned out the remnants of our argument, sparks of chaos igniting a sense of dread. You're playing into their hands, Daniel. They enjoy thieves, a father, a daughter, divided by misunderstanding, desires twisted like vines around your heart. Enough! I shouted. The desperation, the anxiety felt suffocating. I could barely breathe. I won't be a pawn in whatever game you're trying to play. I have my life to defeat, my own choices to make. Before I could catch my breath, Lucas interjected. We're leaving. Right now. His determination surged through me, merging with my own. We wouldn't abandon one another. The urgency transformed into a tangible pressure unfurling around us. Not so fast, the shorter man sneered, cutting through the set tension like a knife. You may think you're strong, but you're merely a flicker in a storm. This is beyond you. Just as despair began to settle, Evelyn stepped forward, her presence commanding attention. You don't know her, she said, her voice steady and fierce. Danielle is stronger than you realize. And those secrets you speak of are what bind us, not what will break us. I won't let you manipulate this, I asserted, the fire in my spirit igniting again. If the locket has answers, then I'm the one to reveal them, not you. A chilling laugh echoed from the taller man, cutting through the air with a sharpness that felt like ice. You think you can solve this on your own? You don't know the depth of what you hold. Watch me, I retorted, a fierce wave of defiance washing over me. I won't let fear dictate my next steps. I refuse to be your victim. The atmosphere shifted, that charged space vibrating with uncertainty and strength. We need to go, Lucas urged, tightening his grip on my hand. Claire stood resolutely beside me, her eyes fierce with unwavering support. In numbers we have a chance. They can't control all of us. Before any attack could be executed, Evelyn stepped directly in front of the advancing men, her gaze piercing. Back off. This isn't just about her anymore. Fear fluttered in my chest, and still, I felt a strange surge of confidence blossom. It seemed impossible that together we could confront the shadows swirling at our heels. But time was against us. Suddenly, Claire's phone buzzed again. She glanced at it, and I could see the flicker of recognition echo across her face, followed by dread. What if it's Mom? She whispered urgently. What if she found something that can stop this? I need to know. No. My voice rang out, panic slicing through my throat. We cannot risk any more. They know me, they know you. The tension between the young, naive trust in our family ties collided adeptly with the brutal truth of what faced us now, an angry past eager to force the future into submission. Trust in each other. I managed, rallying everyone beneath that rallying cry that echoed with urgency. We'll find it. Together. But only if we keep fighting. The cafe was emptying fast. The scattered patrons, dazed but realizing they needed to leave, also caught in our storm. I took a breath, forcing my gaze against the impending doubt. The cool metal of the locket nestled safely within my pocket felt like a heartbeat against my thigh, anchoring me amidst the chaos. We're fighting for each other, I said firmly, and no one is taking what's truly ours. In that moment, illuminated by the soft cadence of hope and fear, this realization coalesced into a purpose, wrapping us in layers of courage as we bound ourselves to one another. Let's go, Lucas said with resolve. Evelyn nodded, her expression filled with the yearning of what once was intermingled with a fierce apprehension of the burden we carried. And then we moved, each step fueled by conviction, each heartbeat leading us toward the unknown with a sense of togetherness that sounded a battle cry against the darkness closing in. But as we slipped through the door, the shadows whispered warnings. Our past wasn't finished with us yet. But neither were we. In that pivotal moment, as our fragile alliance forged ahead into uncertainty, I caught my father's gaze one last time. In it, I glimpsed a rekindling of hope, a flicker of connection amidst the web of our shared history. And as we stepped into the night, hand in hand with the ones I cared for most, I felt the thrumming pulse of change guiding us forward, a light igniting just beyond the horizon, preparing to pierce through the shrouded depths of an entire lifeline we had yet to discover. Because in this whirlwind of chaos and uncertainty, one undeniable truth rang clear. Sometimes the locket we seek is not merely an object. It's a pathway to the secrets that hold our lives together, forever entwined in a beautiful tapestry of connection beneath layers of longing. And that, I realized, was the light I needed to define my future, reminding me that our pasts might shadow the journey ahead, but love and courage would always lead the way toward unfathomable truths yet to be unveiled.